I mean, I think that this is a week where it's really been dominated by the NASDAQ. NASDAQ in much better shape because a lot of the companies there, led by FANG, don't do business in China. It's an extraordinary time. You have Chinese ministers saying things that are true. Yeah, I mean, why would Trump want sincere talks when Trump feels he's got them on the run and Trump feels that this is how you get reelected? The Chinese continue to be baffled by Trump. The media continues to be baffled by why the Chinese aren't tougher in getting things done, because the Chinese have a 500-year view or maybe a 900-year view, which is complete nonsense, because who even has a 5-day view when it comes to Trump?
You mentioned FANG doing well because no China exposure, but this is the lead of the business section of the Journal. Huawei pressure stings suppliers, and they mention all the big names, the Microns, the Qorvos, the Broadcoms, the Western Diges.
Qualcomms, which Jim mentioned yesterday. As you know, it's funny, Jim, because we were focused on Huawei yesterday, I think, appropriately so. You mentioned all of those names. It's interesting, the market's response, not particularly concerned, at least it would seem, in what was an absolute ratcheting up of tensions between the two countries. The fact that the Commerce Department now is going to review every application in terms of selling anything to Huawei, and all those applications will be reviewed under, quote, a policy, a presumption of denial.
Reuters has a piece out today saying, if you think you're going to get an exemption, good luck to sell.
Yeah. Look, again, Trump doesn't want American companies to do business with China. Trump doesn't want any sort of effort that makes China militarily better, that makes them ahead of us in terms of 5G. I mean, these are his plans. Why is everyone so confused by these? I think it couldn't be more clear. He's saying, listen, I'm not going to do what the previous presidents have done. I don't care about Qualcomm's numbers. I don't care if people cut numbers Skyworks. I don't care. I mean, previous presidents have been reluctant to hurt any company that wants to do business in China. Trump's the opposite. He wants to hurt every company that does business in China. And he's been pretty successful so far. This is really an amazing decision to try to make it so Huawei is no longer the leader in 5G, which we really felt that they would. By the way, again, behind the scenes, Samsung, number 4, after Ericsson, after Nokia, making major moves, going to all these companies and saying, let's get to work. So I just don't think there's any surprise here at all, except for the fact that there are money managers who somehow believe that there would be real trade talks after what happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, when the Treasury Secretary says we're in our final laps, when the president says I have a beautiful friendship, I mean, those go into the algos as well.
Well, I mean, look, that's the way the Chinese communists talk. I mean, a beautiful friendship. Isn't that the way it's like, let's go talk? It's just like the Kremlin, where we always felt we were so close to Brezhnev. I mean, it really is rather ridiculous. Trump knows that if he keeps this up, he gets reelected. And he's got Walmart saying, really don't worry about it. He's got Cisco saying, listen, we're out of China. He's given all our companies a blueprint about how to get their numbers up. And it is not to help Huawei.
No, but I continue to wonder, I think, others as well that I speak to, what is going to be the Chinese response? What will they do?
They don't have anything
will it involve?
to do.
Well, there are a number of things they can do, Jim, if you want to ratchet up tensions even further from here in responding to the potential of putting Huawei in a very difficult financial position in terms of making its products. Now, by the way, I mean, Huawei does have some supply on hand. It's not as though this is happening overnight, but there is a question as to what they're going to do. It's been an interesting week, Jim. I mean, I sat on this set with you for weeks and kept asking you, is the market appropriately discounting the chance that things go off the rails with China? Then it happened. We've had a ratcheting up in tensions without a doubt. It is now probably considered a real war. And yet, what's the market really down?
Well,
what did we miss? I mean, maybe everybody's not just talking, well, it's only, even if you tariff all the stuff that comes from China, it's only $70 billion. It's not a big number.
Well, our American companies have been working rather rapidly for a year to try to get away from this stranglehold that is China. There were some CEOs who didn't think that there would be resolve. There are some CEOs who think that Trump's stupid and that this is all bad and it'll go away in the election. And then there's CEOs who said, you know what, we're not going to let this happen. And then there's CEOs who've been trying to get in China for years and never been allowed. And they're the companies that are going higher. I mean, Visa has not been allowed to do it. But look at American Express. They have been denied the big business in China. Look at that stock. If you've been denied the ability to do business in China, your stock is flying. It's incredible. So it's a bifurcated market. If you wanted to do business in China, Trump doesn't like it. If you weren't being able to do business in China, the market loves you.
We're going to keep our eye, obviously, on impacts on various sectors of the U.S. economy, including rural America and the farm economy. Deere today, of course, with a miss and a profit warning. CEO says, quote, ongoing concerns about export market access, near-term demand for commodities like soybeans, and a delayed planting season in much of North America are causing farmers to become much more cautious about making major purchases. There's a piece up this morning, Jim, that China, not that this is a huge deal, but they did just cancel their biggest order for pork in about a year. So they're going to start to lean on areas like that.
Well, I think that the farmers will get paid off because it's coming into election year. I think that Deere is uniquely out of touch with what Wall Street was thinking. In other words, Deere should have pre-announced. If they think that things were that bad, they should have pre-announced. I don't understand Deere. I don't understand the people who own Deere. I mean, last week, I urged people to sell Deere over and over again. I said, listen, they're going to miss. They're going to miss. They're going to miss. When they miss and they cut the forecast, why is it a surprise? The planting season was hurt by it being very, very wet. The Chinese are not taking their equipment. Some of these commodities have been pummeled. Why didn't Deere explain that to people? Why is it so amazing to people? Why? I mean, how can people be so naive? I don't understand the holders of Deere. I mean, they went to college to get stupid.
I don't really have a response to that, Carl. Yeah. I also probably went to college to get stupid.
I mean, USDA did say this week they've paid, I think, so far about $8 billion directly to farmers. We don't know exactly who got what.
Jeffersonian. We should give every farmer $15,000 this weekend. Why not?
$15,000 of money, taxpayer money that is not appropriated by Congress. Some people have a problem with that.
Well, those people are not president, and those people are not Congress. Those people in the media, and those are economists. I mean, look, we have a tradition in this country of ever since the Agriculture Adjustment Act. We pay farmers. That's what we do. We should stop thinking about this issue. By the way, the idea that it's a shock that we pay farmers, we pay them every time things are bad. That's what we do. They have a lot of senators. They got a lot of mind share in Washington. We should stop thinking about soybeans.